G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a charger pistol. To explain this in the most basic of terms, it's just basically a Gauss pistol, but a little bit more inspired. And you can see the design taken from the Gauss minigun in Fallout 76 with that weird bulb on the front there. That's pretty neat, huh? So this thing has custom sounds and different animations depending on how you've got this thing set up. All of the animations are looking pretty good, and there's some third-person stuff as well, and you've also got a unique variant. I'll show you where to get this a little bit later on, but for the most part you'll find these on vendors, on dudes, and you'll find the Gauss grenade along with these guys. You have to be at level 32 though, so that tells me that this is going to be a high tier, higher level endgame type pistol here. So actually, that's a pretty good sign. I don't mind a little bit of power in the end game, and 288 damage just for this thing as standard is pretty good, don't you think? Let's get into the attachments. First of all, we've got the standard receiver, which gives you a charging thing like you would with a normal Gauss rifle, which you'll have to charge it and it'll hold back your DPS for a lot of damage. But you can have a quick charge drum, which will increase your ammo capacity threefold and also make it so you don't have to charge the thing up whenever you shoot it. Now, I'm thinking this is probably the way to go, but I'm seeing that, and maybe if you want to use this in a VAT-centric loadout or playstyle, you always want to go for the standard receiver simply because what you can do with that is just VATs and it'll always be charged. Anyway, for this one, we'll have the quick charge drum, which makes it automatic in a way. Right now we've got a standard barrel. We can have a longer barrel, which will increase the range substantially. That's probably going to hit everything you pointed out in VATS. That is an incredible amount of range. You can also have a short barrel to help it out a little bit in its VATS cost usage, but it's a pistol anyway, so that probably won't be a problem. You're costing yourself a little bit of range for possibly better VATS usage and some weight reduction, so I wouldn't recommend that one. A shotgun barrel is interesting, as well as it looks really cool. And obviously that's going to be better at close ranges, but that's not that much of a damage wait, yes it is. Compared to the standard charge-up shot, it isn't, but that's actually a pretty huge increase. You'll also notice how it's doing an extra 60 in radiation damage. Completely worthless against anything that isn't human, but it's nice to have, I suppose. Heating barrel is lighting targets on fire. That's pretty self-explanatory there. It gives you a little bit of bonus energy damage to go along with that. And missiles are launching slow Gauss projectiles that explode. I actually kind of want to see how that goes, and despite this being a advanced barrel with rank science 4 needed, it weighs the same as a short barrel. Interesting choices there. What we'll do is we'll chuck on a long barrel here. We're going to make this one fairly stock standard. We'll get some of the crazier ones going as we go along. Right now I've got a standard grip. We can have a sharpshooter's grip and a capacitor bank grip. Improved damage at the cost of worse accuracy, because I suppose the extra weight on this would make it slightly unwieldy. That looks a little bit like the drum magazine you'd find out of a Gauss pistol in Fallout 76, actually. I wonder if that's taken inspiration directly from that. But that's just a bunch of batteries to make the thing shoot harder and do more damage. And you can have a stock on this, which increases the damage. Interesting. I'm not sure exactly why it is doing that. Maybe you could argue that it'd make it more accurate if it had a buttstock to put your shoulder on when you're firing this thing, but I have to go with a stock now that we've got extra damage out of that. And notice how the recoil compensating stock is all springy and stuff, a little bit like the pipe guns from the vanilla game. But honestly, the way this thing's going to be firing, I'm pretty sure we don't really need the recoil compensation on it, because it'll be not firing that fast anyway. But that's just how I see it. Right now we've got worn coils. We can have well maintained, high velocity, and capacitor boosted, which will give us the highest amount of damage, and also well, capacity boosted. That's what it's like for the original vanilla Gauss rifle, but that's a whole lot of damage right now. And we can even chuck some iron sights of the glowing variety, a reflex sight, or a combat scope, which I'm going to put the combat scope on because I'm going to turn this thing into a rifle, damn it. And right now we've got no muzzle. You can attach a scissors bayonet, which welds a scissors onto the side of the barrel. It'll be fun to remove that one if you don't want it anymore. Right, this is a makeshift suppressor, which is just a big oil can, just like you'd see, oil filter, sorry, just like you'd see with the pipe guns. But if you chuck on the advanced suppressor, it says it's a suppressor, but we're not getting the boosts from Ace Operator at all. So oil filter it is, and you can have a foregrip, which takes off the foregrip of what I believe to be a hammer drill, and this one's got the screwdriver grip, but you can go for the full hammer drill foregrip. Then you hold that in first person. Otherwise, you're just holding your arm off to the side like a weirdo, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. But yep, that's our first turbocharger precision rifle. It's not a pistol anymore, I suppose, but yeah, that's one of the crazy ways you can spec out this thing. I'm going to create a couple more of these, and this prototype charger here, that's the unique one. For balance reasons, they don't allow you to modify that, and we'll get to actually getting that in a second. But for now, I'll craft some of these off camera, of course. Alright, so finding the prototype is fairly easy. If you're familiar with the Brotherhood questline, they send you to the Sentinel site. It's just a big pyramid in the glowing sea. If you're unfamiliar, just go down to the bottom, go through the pipes. It's a fairly linear path, and you'll find it in the room where you talk to the Child of Adam. I think he's got an Assaultron next to him, and it's next to this terminal right here. There it is. Pretty much as easy as it gets. Probably gated off to a pretty high level, seeing as it is in the glowing sea, and not to mention the ammo might be fairly unobtainable during the early stages of the game where it just doesn't spawn for you. But that's how you get it. Pretty easy, good, understood, sorted. Let's go shoot stuff. Righto, so here we are outside of the Immersive Gunners Plaza once again, and this is the Gauss Charger rifle, I guess, in first person. It's a peculiar looking device, don't you think? It's a fairly unbeautiful looking thing, I'll tell you that much, and that's what it looks like. It's quite a funny thing. The bash animation looks a little bit like that, but it gets a little bit peculiar in third person. Obviously, with a see-through scope here, you'll find that when you're aiming down sights in third person, you'll just get the standard iron sight zoom in. And also, despite having a rifle stock, this thing is still being held like a pistol, and that foregrip is being completely ignored by the third person animation. So if you want to put this on NPCs, probably take that stock off and you'll be right with that. So that's what it looks like in third person. I got a couple of other variants to get through. Mostly excited to see how the missile launcher goes, because this could go anywhere, to be honest, and I'm actually kind of interested to see how that goes. I've also got this one, that's the heating barrel. It's going to be like the Glock, but maybe setting things on fire. There's no actual fire damage there, so they've used all of the vanilla in-game damages to do stuff. And here's just a prototype charger. It looks pretty stock standard, but when you fire it, it fires in a 3-round burst. And there's some reload animations. It actually changes depending on whether you've got the prongs in it in the back like that, or just the sort of drum. And that obviously is changed whether you've got the rapid fire receiver or the charging up receiver. But anyways, we'll drop a quick save here in case we crash, and we'll start shooting some gunners, and I guess we'll snipe them at first. And it's doing really well so far. Extremely well. Scooping in and dropping these guys and hitting them for a non-substantial amount of damage there. Now, we are getting the 4.4 times multipliers from the suppressor and all of the perks there, but we are cleaning up these gunners. They seem to be gathering around that pole, and I mean, it's good enough cover as it is, but you're not really spreading out and making it very difficult for me. Now we get to see this thing without those glorious sneak criticals. As you can tell, extremely powerful even still. See, it would have been much easier for the gunners if they decided to hide in the foliage anyway. Firing this thing, even though it's not hitting them, the explosion damage seems to be doing quite the job, I think. So, whilst the explosions here are good, I reckon we can make them even better with a certain receiver here. Let's go over to the missiles. Maybe we'll get a little bit closer because we were warned that these shots were slow, and we'll send them on their way. This does have the charging receiver on it, so I might get slightly better damage if I do charge this up, but I feel like that's probably not super necessary at this point. I'm also noticing these explosions, they go off a little bit like seismic charges from Star Wars. I wonder how they did that effect. That's awesome. I kind of wish it'd make the same sound, though. Plug in the old electric guitar on the amp and turn it all the way up, and I guess that's how you do it. Also, the corpses are being thrown around, too, which is just icing on the cake. So there's that secondary reload with the prongs. If you do that reload in third person, it doesn't seem to change. It just goes the standard sort of drum magazine reload. So a little bit of discrepancies between the first and third person animations there. But I think you get the gist of the missile launcher. That's just killing everything in one shot with a slow projectile. Let's move over to the burst fire prototype version now. So that seems to be a little bit more balanced in terms of its DPS and output. This is definitely more of a standard sort of way of damage that you'd find in the vanilla game. It's a zombie hyena, possibly from Resident Evil. And it looks like, with this thing in third person and also in VATS by consequence, it doesn't actually get the 3-round burst, which means it's probably tied to animations. Anyways, I'm going to crit this guy, see if we can get the freezing effect. Never mind, he died. From that far out. Huh. Alright, what about this guy? There we go. Now, is he frozen? Or is he still moving? Well, he's all painted white there, so it looks like you can't freeze these guys. I guess it's good for highlighting a target. My visual field can easily pick them up when they're like that. Alright, so we've cooled it down. Let's bring the heat on them with the heating barrel. Now this is more like a hand cannon, like you'd expect a Gauss thing to be. It's also explosive, so I really don't have to put a lot of effort into aiming this thing. Eventually they're going to die due to the amount of explosions I'm sending at them, which is good news. Excuse me. What you got there? Maybe an MG42? That was very close. Nice. I was hoping the burning damage over time would finish her, but it looks like the mysterious stranger comes in completely unclutched there. Robbing my kills, of course. There's a standard gunner there. He goes down in one shot. So it looks like there's a little bit of slow velocity. I feel like in terms of explosive power on this thing, it seems to be the most balanced of the like super explosive versions of this thing. And we've got one more up here. Where is he? You can't escape from me, buddy. We'll spam on that trigger. And yeah, you're not getting anywhere, buddy. You had a service rifle. Yes, you did. Which leaves only one more. It's the shotgun with 1300 damage and a little bit of extra rad damage to go along with that, but a fairly inconsequential amount. So I guess we'll charge this thing up and we'll breach the door. Think of it as like, I don't know, lockpicking with one hand as you got one finger wrapped around the trigger. I don't know how that works. And that was pretty good. I am charging this up, which means it's costing me DPS, but you'll note that there's no Gauss effects on this. Whether that's just to support systems and their, obviously the Gauss effect is a little bit taxing and it could cause lag and slowdowns on lesser systems, but they seem to not care about that on Fallout 76. But yeah, these are just standard bullet projectiles, which is a little bit underwhelming. There's a lot of show-offiness that it comes with a Gauss projectile that's fired multiple times at once, but I don't know whether they did that for performance or not, whether that's just a choice they made in the design, but we're looking to see a little bit more out of this shotgun. Watch this space. We'll take this shotgun and we'll make it usable, and it also works with classic holstered weapons here. In rifle form and in pistol form. In pistol form, it'll be a big iron on your hip there. Also, it's pouring down rain, and I've got a weapon that is use electro charging, and I feel like that's probably the worst weapon you could use in a rainstorm. You might get shocked from it, but luckily the triggers and the grips are insulated, right? Probably. Okay, so we had a lot of success with the stealth shotgunner roll with the Jack 12 the other day. So let's see if we can't get a little bit better here. Okay. We whiffed most of those shots in VATS. Luckily for me, however, Swan didn't notice that one of his smaller brethren was under attack there, and he's knocked out some blood bugs there, which bodes pretty well for me, because that gets him nice and knocked down. Almost in danger just then. Let's go for the head. We'll start with the head, see what we can do. Whiff, whiff, whiff. There we go. Operation Stealth Shotgunner doesn't look like it's worked on this occasion. We'll regroup and retreat a little bit. Was that rock aimed at me? I think it was. You're being chased by boom bugs, fool. Take them out. No? That's fine. I think we just tanked a hit from that. So if we use this thing, getting all of its damage and everything, it's actually really strong. And you get a decent amount of VATS shots with this thing. I gotta wonder whether this thing is slightly stronger in its rifle form, where all of its damage is centered in one projectile. Not really. If you back the shotgun, it'll do pretty well there, and well, may as well take the caps. He's smashed one of those bugs. We'll just put the damage on him. Try to extend his little ragdoll there as he's going along. Doesn't look like that's worked particularly well. Okay, what about missiles? How many shots do we get in this thing? It's a short-ish barrel. It's a decent amount. No staggers there. This is like the first time ever I've camped inside this. I know why I don't, because he can just hit you anyway. But we'll be okay. We'll throw some missiles over that way. That seems to be doing pretty well. Getting a little bit dire. We'll get those quick hands reloaded. And then one more seismic charge to his face. And he gets thrown. We quickly duck under his lumbering corpse there. Do you remember Deathclaws being able to do that too? Well, he's not a Deathclaw, but, you know, same shit, different smell. You die now. Ooh, we didn't die. We could do this the easy way or the hard way, buddy. You've chosen the hard way. You got staggered there, and that was it for him. Alright, so I'm not giving up on this shotgun thing. This stealth shotgun thing is going to be awesome, so we'll have to find something else, and maybe we'll dim the lights a little bit just to give me a fighting chance. Ooh, nice. That's what the hand is there for, not for flipping people off, for punching. Very nice. If you have a rifle stock, however, when you punch, you'll hit them with the oil filter suppressor, which probably will damage it, but, you know, we're putting multiple rounds through it, so whatever anyway, right? It's gonna break. Righto, so, as the Wendigo over there gets acquainted with the local insect population, looks like he's laid waste to every single one of them, we're gonna sneak up with the shotgun, and hopefully the lights aren't dimmed too much. Folks at home should be able to see quite well. It's only 8 o'clock in-game time now, with a little bit of overcast. So what we'll do is we'll go for a critical. Instant mutation there. And, yep, 1633 damage. You love to see it. And that is the power of sneaking. Not that I need to demonstrate that again, but I just wanted to kill something really fast with the shotgun. I'll make good damage out of this receiver here. Also, if I... so weird. It's like got a super massive drop off. Don't like these guys. They kind of creep me out. So we're gonna missile him. Unless he wants to go through the ground. I guess you win. You're not supposed to be able to do that. That's a mole rat ability, but I guess that's how it's going to be then. So anyways, I think you get the point. This here was the Charger pistol, rifle, launcher, whatever name you want to give it. It's a pretty cool weapon. I like its design. I like how it feels. I like the sounds that it makes. Its animations are great. Third-person animations seem a little bit unfinished, but I can look past that if you want to play this game exclusively in first person, like I imagine a lot of people would be inclined to do. And, you know, it's just a lot of endgame power. If you feel like the enemies are a little bit tanky, then you can whip this out and you'll have a pretty good time of all of that. So, yeah, definitely recommend this one. And thank you for the recommendation to check this out. I appreciate you shouting out cool weapons like this. And maybe I'll bring back the little thing where it says, weapon requested by a user. Just get the community involved a little bit, because we're not playing Fallout 76 and we can't really we don't have the ability to play with each other as much, so a little bit of interactivity there I think is good. Download this weapon, check out the description, should be down there, and it's been out for a while, so I'd imagine that there would be a Xbox version for it as well. Thank you very much for watching, guys.